guys, welcome back to another stream. Today we are going to read about we are likely the continue our previous book that we have a take and took to read. That is Elon Musk by the Walter Isaacson. And we haven't read yet the almost the ninth chapter. And now today we're gonna read a 10th chapter of this book. So let's learn about the Elon Musk and deeper as we can do, as we can learn. Yeah. Um, Just previously, we have learned yesterday about the Canada, that how the Elon Musk go to the Canada by using the Canadian like a facility in the Penn University and Queen's University. And while he's studying in a Queen's University, that he got the first friend, his name is Faruqi, and later Penn in a Penn University he got the another friend. His name is Adio Robert Robinson. So likely the most tragic journey ever happened with the Elon Musk during the Canada, and then and like Spain and Queens after we saw the West America. Like he went to the west side of the America where the Wall Street Journal has been placed. So there he go for the do the internship. So then likely we will know that how he made a Zip2 company. Um, yeah, today is my this is my thumbnail for today. Yeah. So the Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson. Let's don't waste the time. Let's read this thing. Go West. As you can see the Kimball, Mae, and Elon Musk unseen photos and Justin Musk escort. Beautiful photo of them is truly showing that how they are living with each other. Okay, let's learn about this. In a zip to the Palo Alto. The Palo Alto is a place in Canada, and since the 1995 to 1999, the between age between time, the Mac Quest. Some of the best innovations come from the combining the two previous innovations. The idea that Elon and Kimball had in the early 1995, just as the wave was starting to grow exponentially, was simple but a researchable directory of business online and combine it with the map software that would give the user direction to them. Not everyone saw the potential when the Kimball had meeting at the Toronto Star, which published the yellow pages in that city. The president picked up the thick edition of a directory and threw it at him. Do you honestly think you are ever going to replace this? He asked. The brother rented the ta sorry the brother rented a tiny office in a Palo Alto that had a room for the 2 days and a few turns for the first 6 months. For the first and 6 months, they slept in an office and shower at the YMCA. Kimball, who would later become a chef and a restaurateur, got an electric call and cooked the meals occasionally, but mainly they ate at the Jack in the Box because it was a cheap, open 24 hours and just a block away. I can still tell you every single menu item, Kimball says. It's just the seared into my brain. Elon became a fan of the teriyaki ball. After a few months, they rented an unfurnished apartment that stayed that way. All it had was a two mattresses and lots of coca puffs boxes. Says the Tosca even after they moved in, Elon spent many nights in the office crashing under his desk when he was exhausted from the coding. He had no pillow, he had no sleeping bag, I don't know how he did it, says Jim Ambrose, an early employee. Once in a while, if we had a customer meeting in the morning, I would have I would have to tell him to go home and shower. Then Navida Faruqi came from the Toronto to work with them, but he soon found himself in a fights with the musk. If you want your friendship to last, his wife Naomi told him, "This is not for you." So he quit after the 6 weeks. I knew that I could either be a working with him or be his friend, but not the both, and the latter seemed the more enjoyable. It almost not yet estranged from his sons and visited from the South Africa and gave them 28,000 plus the beat up the car he bought for the 500 their mother. Mai came from the Toronto more often, bringing a food and clothes. She gave them a $10,000 and let them use the credit card because they had not been approved for one. They got their first break when they visited the Navetic, which had a database of maps. The company agreed to the license it and Musk for the free until they started making a profit. Elon wrote the program that merged the maps with the listing of the business in the area. You could use either the cursor and zoom in and move around the map, and says to Kimball, use your cursor to zoom in and move around the maps. That stuff is totally normal today, but it was a mind-blowing. It was a mind-blowing. See the work on the internet. They named the company Zip2 as a zip to where you want to go. Elon was granted a patent for the interactive network directory service that he had created. An invention provides the network accessible service which integrates both business directory and the map database, the patent stated. For the first meeting with a potential investor, they had to take the bus up and Sand Hill Road because the car there had that the car their dad had given them broke down. But after word of spread about the company, the VCs were asking to come to them. They bought a big frame for the computer rack and put on one of the small computer inside so that visitor would think they had the giant server and they named it as the machine that the goes ping after the Monty Python sketch. Every time investor would come in, we showed them the tower. Kimball says we would laugh because it made them think we were doing hardcore stuff. My flew from the Toronto to help prepare for the meeting with the venture capitalist. After staying up all the night, and King goes to the print the presentation. It was $1 or the page for the color, which we could barely afford. She says we would all be exhausted except the Elon. He was always up in late night and coding when they got their first proposals from the potential investor. In early 1996, Mai took the boys to the nice restaurant to celebrate. That's the last time we will have to use my credit card, she said when she paid the bill, and it was they were soon astounded by an offer from the Moher Davido Ventures to invest the 3 millions in the company. The final presentation to the firm was scheduled for the Monday and a weekend. Kimball decided to make a quick trip to the Toronto to fix their mother's computer, which had broken. We love our mom, he explains, as he was living on the Sunday to fly back to the San Francisco. He got stopped by the U.S. border officials at the airport who looked in his luggage and saw the pitch deck, business card, and other documents for the company because he didn't have the U.S. Work visa. They wouldn't let him to board the plane. He had a friend pick him up at the airport and drive him across the border, where he told the less vigilant border officer that they were heading down to the see the David Letterman show. He managed to catch the late plane from the Buffalo to San Francisco and made it in a time for the pitch. More Davido allowed the presentation and finalized the investment. The firm also found the immigration lawyer to the help the two must get a work visa, gave them each $30,000 to the purchased a cars. Elon bought a 1967 Jaguar E-Type as a kid in South Africa. He had seen the picture of a car in the book on the best convertible ever made, and he had the award to buy one if he have ever the struck in it is a reach. It was a beautiful car you could imagine, he says, but it broke down at least once a week. The venture capitalists soon did what they often do, they bring the adult supervisor to take over from the young founders. It had happened to the Steve Jobs at the Camp Apple, to Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Google reached Ross Sorkin, who had run the business development for the audio equipment company, was made the CEO of Zip2. Elon was moved aside as chief technology officer at the first time, and he thought that change would suit him. He could focus on building the product, but he learned the lesson. I never wanted to be a CEO, he says, but I learned that you could not truly be a chief technology or product officer unless you were the CEO. With the changes came on a new strategy. Instead of the marketing, it's the product directly, the business and their customer. Zip2 focused on selling the software to the big newspapers so they could make their own local directories. This made a sense. A newspaper already had the sales forces that were knocking on the door and of the businesses to sell them the advertising and classified Night Rider, the New York Times, the 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 Pulitzer and the Harris newspaper sign up executives from the first to join the Zip2 board. Editor and publisher magazine ran a cover. The Untitled, the newspaper Dom 7, Zip2 had been hired by the 140 newspaper at a license fee ranging from the $1,000 to the $10,000. The president of a tornado star, who had thrown the Yellow Pages book at the Kimballs, called him to apologize and asked if the Zip2 would be a partner, and Kimball said yes. Yeah. This is the amazing story about the Elon and the Kimball, that how they made it possible to the Zip2 to acquire its the fund and expand its the business. Likely, he's the first investor who is the David. Okay, the more Davido is not was not agreed to be invest in the company, but after the Kimball convinced with him to invest in the company, then more widow at the time they eventually just agreed to invest in a company. Almost $30,000, and maybe $30,000 is also for to purchase a cars that Elon had purchased. The Jaguar E-Type in the 1960s, I mean the 1967's Jaguar E-Type, who had been used in a movie, the James Bond. The James Bond used this car in his movie, And in the movie, it has a show up that car could convertible, like it can swim under the sea. It can drive up on the surface. So just like Zip2 journey is like very hard to for them. They're showing that. And second, we are going to learn. So let's about the hardcore. So the from the every beginning of his career, Musk was demanding the manager compatibles. I mean, sorry, contemptus. Sorry, my vocabulary of the concept of the work-life balance at the Zip2 and every subsequent company he drove himself. Diligence was allowing the breaks for the intense video games binges. The Zip2 teams won second place in national quack competition. They would have come in first, but he says, but one of them crashed his computer by pushing it hard. When other engineers went to home, Musk would sometimes take the code they were working on and rewrite it with his the weak empathy gene. He didn't realize or care that correcting someone publicly or he put it and fixing their uh, F stupid code was not a path to the environment. He had never been captain of a sports team or the leader of a gang of friends. He lacked an instinct of camaraderie, did it? Like a Steve Jobs, he genuinely did not care if he wanted or the intermediate, the people he worked with, as long he drove them to the accomplish the fair feats they were thought were the impossible. It's not your job to make people on your team to love you. He said the space's executive lesson the years later. In fact, that's the counterproductive. He was a toughest on the Kimball. I love my brother very much, but working with him was hard. Kimball says their disagreements often led to the rolling on the office floor fights. They fought over the major strategies and minor slides, and the name Zip2, the Kimball and a marketing firm came up Elon hated it. And growing up in South Africa, fighting was normal. Elon said it was a part of the culture. They had no private offices, just cubicles, so everyone had to the watch in one of there was pride, and they were wrestled on the floor. And Elon seemed ready to punch the Kimball in the face. Kimball bit his hand, tore off a burned hunk of flesh. Elon had to go to the emergency. So wait a minute. At the intense race, we just didn't notice that anyone else around us. Says Kimball, he later admitted that Elon was right about the Zip 2. It was a shitty name. Through product, people have the compulsion to the sell directly to the consumers without the middleman muddying things up. Musk was that way. He became frustrated by the zip to strategy of relegating itself as being the unbranded vendor to the newspaper industry. We wound up he holding to the papers, and Musk says he wanted to buy the domain name, city name, and become the consumer destination again, the competing with the Yahoo and AOL. The investors were also having a second thought about their strategy. City, the guides and internet directories were the proliferating by the fall of 1998, and none of had shown that the profit, and so CEO Rich Sorkin decided to the merge with one of them and City Search in the hope that together they could succeed. But when the Musk met with the CEO of a City Search, the man made the uneasy with the help of the Kimball of some of the engineers. Elon led the rebellion that scuttled the merger. He also demanded that he be made a CEO again. Instead, the board removed him as a chair and diminished his role. Great things will never happen with the VCS of the professional managers. Musk told the INC magazine they don't the inside. One of the more were Davido partner and Drake Proudian was installed the interim CEO and tasked with the selling the company. This is your company, he told the Musk. Let's find the acquirer and make some money, and you can do your second and third and fourth company. And there we have learned the hard code, that how the Elon was harder while the entire journey of the Zip2. And when he was running the company, the Zip2, there while he had some conflicts with his brother over this that is main strategy of and some of those things, and also the city search who wanna merge with the Zip2, and they had admitted that they could be a success to they could be a successful together if they merged together. So, but Elon demanded something else different. So City Search CEO are not agreed with that. Then later, the Richard Davido, who is a like a Moho Davido, sorry. The Moho Davido and the partners, the Drake Proudian was installed an interim CEO, means the Moho Davido is an investor of Zip2 in 1997, and they acquired the fund from the Moho Davido. So then later he became a CEO, interim CEO in a company. Then like let's find the acquirer. Elon said that they need to the acquirer, means who can actually acquire the company and make us some money. So let's see later. The millionaire. That how we became the millionaire by the Zip2. After the selling the Zip2 to the another company, the consent, I mean, yeah, Confinity. In January 1999, less than 4 years after the Elon and Kimball launched Zip2, Proudian called them into his office and told them that compact computer, which was seeking to the juice up it's the Alta Vista search engine had offered the $307 million in a cash. The brother had split their Z2% ownership stake at 60-40, so Elon at the age 27 walked away with the 22 millions and Kimball with the 15 millions, and Elon was astonished when he checked arrived at his apartment. My bank account went from 5,000 to the 22 million dollar, he says. Musk gave their father three lakh dollars out of the proceed and their mother 1 million. Elon bought an 1800 square foot condo, a splurge what for him the ultimate individual. Okay, indulgence, 1 million to the McLaren F1 sports car, fastest production car in existence. He agreed to allow the CNN film him taking a delivery. Just 3 years ago, I was showering at the Y and the sleeping on the office floor, and now I have got the $1 million car. He said he hoped around in the street while his car was unloaded from the truck. After the impulsive outburst, he realized that giddy display of his newfound taste for the wealth was unseemly. Some could interpret the purchase of his car the behavior characteristic of a imperialist brat. He admitted my values may have changed, but I'm not a serious consciously aware of my value having a change. Had they changed, which was not always a pretty sight, but his earnest, the mission driven, the insanity, the remained the intact. The writer Michael Gross was in a Silicon reporting the piece of a Tina Brown's glossy talk magazine on a newly rich technocrats. I wasn't looking for the ostentations lead the character, who might warrant the screaming. The gross recalled the years later, but the most I made in the 2000 was bursting with the joy. Deaver to the likable to the skeever. He had the same insurance and indifference to the expectation he does now, but he was easy, open, charming, and funny. Celebrity was enticing for the kid who had grown up with no friends. I would like to be on the cover of a Rolling Stone, he told the CNN, but he would end up having the conflicted relationship with the wealth. I could go and buy one of the island of the Bahamas, turn it into my personal uh, freedom. But I'm much more interested in trying to create a new company. He said, I haven't spent my winnings. I'm going to put almost the off with the back a new. This is a true dedication and the hard work ever put it by the Elon in his life in early stages after the Zip2 sale sold to the company. And the Alta Visa search engines had offered almost $307 million to the Zip2, and they might be acquired to the Compaq. So compare acquired a Zip2, then Elon and Kimball had to speed it up. Like Elon almost had the $22 million, and Kimball had the $15 million. And then after Elon said, my bank account went to $5,000 to the $22 million quickly, then in a 1 second. And then he had a desire to buy the F1 McLaren. He had a desire to buy the new um home for his mom, and then he and the brother repaid the $300,000 to his father after the borrowing after the borrowing from him. Then he repaid the $1 billion to the mother. Then later, Elon said in a through lines that uh, the car then like I would have to buy the island and live there until my die, but I would like to create a new company. I would like to create a new company and build the wealth, expand it. So this is a truly dedication as a by the Elon Musk. That's why I'm loving him. So my new song is really right now gonna coming down in just in a few days. You will like to hear that song. And next in 11 chapters, Justin. So the Justin, the second chapter is the Justin, means how the Justin met to the Elon and how they had the relationship and just like how they fell in love with each other. So the Palo Alto, this is a story, it's still about the Palo Alto. He been in Palo Alto for I think almost till the 2000s. And Palo Alto is a place in Canada. Not the Palo Alto is a place in Wall Street Journals. So this is the West America. So let's go romance drama. The 1990s. When Musk eased into the driver's seat of his new $1 million McLaren, he said to the CNN reporter in the taping the scene, the real payoff in the sense of the satisfaction in having the credit a company. At that point, the beautiful, willow young woman who was his girlfriend put her arms around him. Yes, 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 but the car as well. Called the car, let's be honest. Musk seemed slightly embarrassed and looked down and checked the message on his phone. Her name was Justin Wilson. Through the when he first met her at the Queen's University, she was still using her more Prozac given name, the Jennifer, like a Musk. She had been a bookworm as a kid, thought her the taste ran to the dark fantasy novels rather than the science fiction. She had been raised in a small river town, the northeast of the Toronto, and fancied that she would become the writer and with the flowing hair and the mysterious smile. She managed the radiant and sultry at the same time, like a character out of the romance novel that she hoped to write someday. She met the Musk when she was a freshman, and he was the sophomore as he found her studying a Spanish text in a student center. I think this your favorite chocolate. This is your favorite chocolate, and he said, handling her the draping cone. He is not a man who take a no for an answer. He said Justin at the time was breaking up with someone who seemed much cooler, a writer who sported a soul patch of her hair on her chin. I thought the soul patch was dead giveaway. That guy was a dunce and says the must so I convinced her to go out with me. He told her, you have a fire in your soul. I see myself in you. She was impressed by his aspiration, unlike other ambitious people. He never talked about the making money. He says he assumed that he would be either wealthy or broke, but nothing in between. What interested him were the problem he wanted to the solve his indoor medal with the weather for making her dead him up for building. Electric cars that mesmerize her even when it seemed like a crazy talk. You could you would believe him because he believed it. They dated only the sporadically before he left the Queens for the pen, but they stayed in touch. He sometimes sent her the roses. He spent years teaching in a Japanese gestant named Jennifer because it was so far common and name of the lots of cheerleaders. When she returned to Canada, she told her sister, "If Elon ever calls me again, I think I will go for it. I might have missed uh, something there." The calls came when we visited New York City to meet with the Times about the Zip 2. He asked her to join him there. The weekend went so well that invited her to fly back and him to the California. She did. He had no yet sold. Zip too, so they lived in a Palo Alto apartment and two housemates and bench hound, and there wasn't the housebroken named Bowie. After the David most of the time he holed up in the bedroom writing and being antisocial, and friends would not want to stay at the home and became because this Dustin was too grumpy. So he says the Kimball could not stand her. If someone's insecure, they can be very mean. He says when the mouse asked his mother what she thought about the Dustin, she was typically blunt. She has no redeeming feature. But Musk, who liked the indigents, is a relationship, and Smeden one night over the dinner. Justin recalls asked how many kids she wanted to have, and one or two, and she answered yes. Although if I could afford a nannies, I would like to have a four. That's different between you and me. He said that just assume that there will be a nanny, then rocked his arms and said, baby. He was already a strong believer in having kids. Shortly after he sold Zip2 and bought a McLaren, suddenly there was money for the nannies, and she joked uneasily, but that maybe he would not be a dump her for the beautiful model. Instead, he got down on bended knees and sidewalk outside of their home, pulled out the ring, proposed her just like out of the romance novel. Both of them were energized by drama, and they thrived by the fighting. For somebody who was the amorous about me, he never hesitated to let me know I was wrong about the something. She said that I would fight back, realized that I could stay and thank him, and it just did not phase him. One day they were with a friend in a McDonald's and started the fighting loudly. My friend was mortified, but Elon and I were used to having a big argument in a public. There is a combative element to him. I don't think you can be a relationship with Elon or not argue. One trip to the Paris, um, they went to see the lady and unicorn tapestries at the Musée de Cluny. Justin began describing what moved her. She gave the spiritual interpretation involving the unicorn was a Christ-like figure. Must call that stupid. They began the argument. I didn't involve intervention. Intervention, Kimball says. I was like, don't you must not. This is a wrong person for you. Now with a party you had in the film with the Musk at the party. When he first met the Justin, tried up to stop him as well. Musk loved the both Justin and the torn Molly. The wedding was scheduled for the weekend in January 2000 on a Caribbean island of Saint Martin. Musk lived in a day before he prenuptial argument his lawyer had written. He and Justin drove around the island looking for the notary who would witness it a Friday evening, but they could not find one. She promised that she would sign it when they are around. When they returned, she ended up doing 2 weeks later. But the more conversation sparked a lots of attention. I think he felt very nervous about getting married and not having things the signed. She says the passy petted the fight and Justin go out of the car and walk to the find of her the friend. Later the night they got together a villa but continued the fighting. The villas were open area, so all of us could hear the knock. Fargi says we didn't know what to do about it. At one point, Must talk out and told his mother. That wedding was off, and she was relieved. Now you weren't miserable, she told him, but that he changed his mind and returned to the justice. The tension continued the day Kimbus and Kafarki tried. Convince the Musk to let them whisk him away airport and he could escape and more instead the intransigent he became a now I'm marrying her declared. One of the surprise ceremony by the hotel. Swimming pool seemed joyous. Justin looked radiant, a sleeveless white dress, tied of the white flower. Must looked dapper in a tailor tuxedo. But both Maya and Errol were there. They even posed for the picture together after dinner. Everyone joined the conga line, and then Elon and Justin looked the first dance. They put the arms on her waist. She put her arms around the neck. They smiled and kissed. Then they danced, and he whispered he heard the reminder, I am the alpha in this relationship. Just end of the relationship. This is over, and we have done the two chapter today. And the relationship about the Elon is so crucial for this time, for this moment. The Justine Wilson, who was a first wife of Elon, she had just the darkest, the novel reader, bookworm. She don't love the sci-fi of sites, but Elon loved the sci-fi. So the unbalancing in a interest that leads the conflicted animal in a relationship. So Elon was right about that, but Elon had no sense for the relationship and loved the story about him. So later and just next in a section, we will read about the zip2, not about the x.com. We have learned the zip2 and about the relationship of the Justin Musk. You can see in the 1990s, just I was right, and the story about his wife. I think I think Jennifer Goin was first girlfriend of his.